Hey guys, welcome back here to The Fishing Teacher. Appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode. Got a really good video for you guys today. I'm going to share with you all the technique that produced the biggest 5-fish limit I ever caught in my life, which was 37 pounds, 5 fish that weighed 37 pounds. It was at Lake Murray in South Carolina about 25 years ago, and it is a technique involving a lipless crankbait in cold water. This is going to work anytime between January, February, and March. The technique that I'm talking about, it's a technique and it's a bait specifically. We're going to go over that in today's episode, and I think it's going to definitely add up to some really big fish for you guys over the next couple months. Also, guys, a couple quick things before we get started. Just a quick invitation. Anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and shoot me a private message for details there. And also, guys, thank you everybody that's been hitting the subscribe button here to The Fishing Teacher. And we also have channel memberships and Patreon that you can take advantage of there too. So really appreciate that. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about, let me tell you a little bit about the biggest limit of fish I caught on this technique, and then I'll talk about specifically how you can fish this technique to catch more big ones on it. The bait we're talking about, guys, is this zuri rattling vibe lipless crankbait, 1/2 ounce. I'll link this. I'll put this in my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick up a couple rattling vibes. Using that link's a good way to help the channel out and get you some good baits there too. But it's this specific bait. I'll explain why it's this specific bait here in a little bit, but I'll link it in the description of the video if you guys would like to pick one up. Okay, this particular tournament I was practicing, it was the last practice day? Yeah, I think it was the last practice day, FLW tournament down at Lake Murray in late February, I believe it was. Water temperatures were right around 50, 52 degrees, if I remember. And guys, in that tournament, at that practice, I caught a 5-fish limit that weighed 37 pounds, not even trying. I had one that was probably close to 10. I had another one about 7, another one 8, three giants in one day. It was, every bite I got was a huge fish. And what I would do is I'd like pull down a bank and I'd catch a big one. I'd pull the trolling motor up and leave. I wouldn't even fish it. After that, I was practicing. And to preface a little bit before I get into the technique, the next day of the tournament, guys, the first day of the tournament, I had 8 bites on, 8 fish hooked on the rattling vibe. I got one of them in the boat. It weighed 6 pounds and 13 ounces. I lost all the other ones, and they were all just as big. They were all 7, 8 pounders. I should have had a giant bag that day. Should have had a 30-pound bag. And I was freaking crushed, obviously. I had one fish that first day and was like in 100 and something place. The second day, I said to myself, how am I losing these fish? So I made an adjustment. I put some different hooks on, and I put a softer rod on there, a softer rod tip. The rod I had, maybe it was a little too stiff. And the next day I went out and I caught 25 pounds, biggest bag of the tournament, and wound up finishing high in the tournament after catching that one the first day. I'd have won the tournament if I just got those fish in the first day. So anyway, that's the story behind this. Let me explain to you guys what you want to do with the rattling vibe. Now, first of all, is the modification. If you get one, my tackle warehouse link, doesn't matter what the color is. Just buy whatever that they have. And then what you want to do is you want to scrape all the paint off of it. See, like that? All I did, this was a chrome one, I think a chrome blue. Scrape all the paint off. Just get it down to clear. And then take a magic marker and mark the black on it with a magic marker and draw you some gills on there. That's all I did to this one. I don't know what it is, guys. I can tell you something about it. And I came up with this by myself. This is the color that those cold water bass want. Take a look at that. 37-pound bag on that bait right there. Modify it and make you one up there once you get your rattling vibe. So the bait is one part of it. I've tried some other colors and I haven't done that good on them, but this one particular color, and I came up with it just because the stock color I had just didn't look right. I had some type of a shad pattern, and I just came up with it to get a little bit more subtle color, and that's what I came up with. But here's what you want to do. This technique involves slow rolling the lipless crankbait. So you want to get into those areas where they're sort of like the pre-spawn staging areas, or late winter, early spawn, spring type areas. Now what these areas are the best areas you can find are steep banks leading into some type of a spawning cove. It doesn't have to necessarily be steep banks, but it needs to have some deeper water off the banks. So let's say, for example, you're back in a creek arm or something, and you've got this nice cove and you've got some fairly sharp drop-offs on both sides of the bank leading into this cove. Those big fish this time of year are going to be setting up from anywhere between the point to about 1/3 of the way back in the cove. So this is just what you need to look for, are those steeper banks that drop off. And then take the rattling vibe, put it on 12-pound test. I use Seagarden Vizex line, 12-pound test fluorocarbon. Get your boat in probably anywhere between, say, I don't know, 10 to 20 foot of water, depending upon the slope of the bank. Cast the bait to where you're hitting in about probably 4 to 5 foot of water. Let it go to the bottom, let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then just pump it, just like that. Pump it off the bottom. It's gonna come up like this, and then it's gonna slowly fall down like that. Pump it up like that, let it fall down like that. And you want to try to keep it as close to the bottom as you can, but just pump it like that. Almost like you're just pumping and slow rolling it. Sometimes I'll reel it a little bit. Like sometimes, I'll pump it up like that, let it fall down, then I'll reel it across the bottom like that a little bit, pump it up like that. But the whole point is you want to keep it close to the bottom. You don't want to fish it like a lipless crankbait is most of the time, where you're just reeling it through the water column. You want to keep it in contact with the bottom. If you lose contact with the bottom, let it fall back down to get to where you're close to the bottom. And those fish are going to hit in two different ways. And they're big ones when they hit. This isn't a small fish deal. Most of the strikes are going to come when you pump it up like that. You're going to go, and they're just going to be there. They're just going to hit it on the way up. And the other one is when you pump it up and the bait falls down like that, you're just going to see your line tick. But most of the time, it's like they hit it on the way up. So it's like, I'll be just like that. That's how you're going to get most of them. I don't know what it is about it, guys. This is a big fish technique. Now, that was my number one pattern, is to fish those steeper banks leading into those coves. But I also wound up catching some good fish in that tournament in the back of the coves, in the back of the guts. So another way that I caught them doing that, and I've duplicated this around different parts of the country, is go back like the back third of a cove to where the water gets like 10 or 15 feet deep in the middle. So let's say, for example, your boat's sitting in 10 or 15 feet and you can see the back of the cove maybe 50 yards from you. Throw right down the middle of the cove in like 10 to 15 feet of water and pump that lipless crankbait just the same way, just like that. Just pump it off the bottom like that. And of course, everybody knows that a lipless crankbait is good over vegetation. But this specific technique, what I'm talking about, is on a typical man-made impoundment that does not have grass. So the main thing, guys, use that Tackle Warehouse link of mine, get you a couple of these rattling vibes, sand them off like that, paint it black on the back, red gills on it, and fish that thing slow on the bottom. And you really need to have water temperatures close to 50. I think that water temperatures about 48 to about 55 degrees is about perfect for this technique. And I can promise you guys, if you get a day where you have that type of water temperature, and the best water clarity for this technique is about 2 to 3 foot of clarity. You get 2 to 3 foot of clarity with that condition right there. That's going to add up to some big fish for you guys. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.